boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things underneath the common sense lens. And, well, the cancellations are coming, ladies and gentlemen. We know that Marvel has been retooling their television content after all of the disastrous dumpster fires that they've had over there, losing billions of dollars on their streaming service with a bunch of shows that nobody watched. She-Hulk, anyone? I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of them situations where I guess it just should not come as a shock to anybody out there that they're canceling more projects that were slated to be in development for a very long time. And honestly, it comes down to the fact that Disney is broke, boys and girls. You say all you want about the fact that they were going to go full steam ahead with the diversity, inclusion, and equity nonsense right until the very end. And guess what? Eventually, they did run out of money. The parks were not going to keep them afloat forever because even the parks are suffering from the exact same diversity, inclusion, and equity nonsense as the entire rest of Disney has. And of course, all of us fans and audiences out there having to suffer through all of the abominations that they've been putting out over there the years. But hey, it looks like things are over there indeed changing. And sadly, some shows that might have had the potential to be actually really good and fun, of course, are now completely and totally over. Because as you can see here from Matt McGloin over there at cosmicbook.news, woke Marvel has killed Nova, Strange Academy, and Terror Inc. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of crazy series out there that maybe you'd heard of and maybe you hadn't or not and actually wouldn't see come to fruition, well, they're officially DOA over there at Disney Marvel, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? It's all of the abominations that Kevin Feige allowed to happen under his guys over there at Marvel that are all completely and totally responsible for this. So we're going to check out this article from cosmicbook.news, getting all of the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,600. We're on our way to 17, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Let us know what you think about this in the comment section down below, too. Were there any of these shows that you actually were cautiously optimistic about? Is there anything you thought that actually might end up being good with any of these series? Or is everyone just happy the fact that these shows are canceled so they couldn't do any more damage to these wonderful characters? Let us know what you think about that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from cosmicbook.news and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. It's learned that Marvel Studios has decided to pause development on 3 MCU series, including Nova, Strange Academy, and Terror Inc. And if Star Wars is pausing its projects or putting things on hiatus is any kind of idea of probably what's going to happen over with Marvel, yeah, these things are never going to go forward ever again. It's done. It's over. It's canceled. Disney Marvel's broke, and they can't afford stuff like this. Recall, I just questioned how they were going to do a Nova series on a budget, which seems to be the gist of why the 3 shows have basically been canceled. It's probably no coincidence that recently saw the report how Marvel is thinking of bringing back all the Netflix characters because they're cheap to do, street level, and the Netflix stuff for the most part was very successful and the fans generally actually liked almost everything that they put out. Obviously, we're looking at you, Iron Fist. But other than that, you know, a lot of it was really good. And I loved the characters as well. And then we obviously see that they were doing this. They've made all of the Netflix stuff canon now, at least when it comes to Daredevil, which is why the new Daredevil Born Again is actually season 4 of Daredevil out there. So that would make sense. That could completely and totally make sense. It's a smart move. They need to save some money. Regarding Nova, maybe it's also a blessing in disguise, especially if they were going to use the woke version that, similar to Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, has been a big bust in the comics. Honestly, James Gunn and the MCU adapting Guardians of the Galaxy is the worst thing that ever happened to those characters in the comics. Likewise, Disney and the entire MCU have destroyed the comics. And obviously, the comics weren't actually in all that great of a state before the MCU took over. But yeah, it certainly hasn't helped anything, boys and girls. So Deadline reported on Thursday how Marvel Television has simply shifted its priorities at the moment. That's right, because nothing's ever truly dead over there. They don't ever want to come out and absolutely say something is canceled. And pause development on 3 projects: Nova, Strange Academy, and Terror Inc. The site also says that none of the shows have ever been officially greenlit, but says the projects may still come to fruition at some point. I mean, these things were, maybe they might have been officially greenlit, but we'd seen the posters on this kind of stuff. We'd seen the announcement. We'd seen the slates before where they talked about at least the Nova show as well, and something they talked about in the past as well. So obviously not going to happen now. The article mentions how Marvel has decided to revamp its TV's division, which happened after the big bust of Secret Invasion. Yeah, I mean, that kind of abomination, the scrolls, the fact that, you know, like, they got a scroll wife, and then you've got your super scroll at the end. It's got the powers of everybody, right? That's like the bestest thing ever. And yeah, needless to say, it didn't go over very well. The article also confirms exactly what I first told everyone, that the changes came amid Marvel retooling Daredevil Born Again, which thank the Lord they did, because it actually looks like we might be getting a good Daredevil series out of Marvel. I know, wild concept, right? While Deadline doesn't go into the specific changes, the changes came as a result of Disney losing billions of dollars on streaming, including on shows that no one watched like She-Hulk and Secret Invasion, which cost $200 million or more each. Yeah, eventually you do run out of other people's money. Marvel TV now is putting out less content and putting out cheaper content. Their first cheap content was Agatha, which also bombed. Yeah, color us shock there, a character that nobody really cared about, that was a one-off in the WandaVision story and nobody really knows about in the comics either. Yeah, surprise, surprise, surprise. That didn't go over very well at all. Yeah, the ratings were abysmal. Disney can't just justify spending billions on content no one is watching. However, the real problem is simply that the content sucked. There is no superhero fatigue. There is a fatigue of garbage out there put out by these studios. 100% agree. I've never agreed with the argument that there's superhero fatigue out there. It's just bad quality content fatigue is all it is. These characters have been around for, in some cases, over almost a century, right? And everybody, they've never had a problem creating stories. People were never, like, except for when the stories got bad in the comics, all the fans out there kept buying these stories. So for the 100 years of experience, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. If that was the case, the comics industry as a whole, the American comics industry, would have died off a very long time ago. So yeah, that's just an excuse for the Hollywood elites to go, oh, they don't want to admit to, oh, well, these movies are sucking and they're failing because of diversity, inclusion, and equity. That's why they say superhero fatigue, because they didn't want to admit what it actually was killing these movies. So back to Nova, Strange Academy, and Terror Inc. I'm guessing that would have been pretty expensive. Nova was supposed to be set in space, in which the head of Marvel TV compared to Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica. Sounded cool, but also expensive. Strange Academy was going to star Benedict Wong and center on a school founded by Doctor Strange to educate young individuals with magical abilities. Obviously, that would have required a lot of special effects for all their magic and such. And it was one of them situations, like, literally, this is kind of how things can end up going. Obviously, that would have cost a lot as well. Terror Inc. would have also required a lot of special effects. Not familiar? The character can take the body parts of other people into his own form and retain their abilities and memories. Oh, it's like another Super Skrull all over again. Yay! So if you're looking forward to Nova, or even Strange Academy and Terror Inc., just like the comics, you have Feige's woke MCU, thanks for killing the projects. Sound familiar, Star Wars fans? And yeah, absolutely. And that whole Strange Academy thing, too, was supposed to be like Disney's answer to like Wednesday and Harry Potter. Was supposed to be the kind of the idea about there. But like with American Chavez and like characters like that, like, yeah, no, that was not going to go over very well. We love Wong. Wong is a great character, but he is not going to carry an entire show. And having Benedict Cumberbatch make random appearances in something like that was not going to sell that show very well at all, because it's a bunch of characters that were raising up. They're supposed to be like the next generation, it's supposed to be the next big sorcerers, except guess what? All of those characters have fallen completely and totally flat. And that's another part of it, at least with the Stranger Academy, because these are characters that nobody cares about, that have not been successful in the movies, that the fans haven't retained in any way, shape, or form. And now we've got a bunch of series completely and totally canceled. And that's what happens. Eventually you do run out of other people's money, and Disney Marvel is broke right now. Disney as a whole is broke right now. We've had them say this publicly, that they are cutting back on the amount of content they're putting out. They want to put out quality content, not just spamming a bunch of stuff to fill a void out there like they've been doing in the past. But like we said, we know why these things haven't been successful. They've been DIE ridden right from the very beginning. They've been nothing more. The same thing with Captain Black America, which is going to end up failing miserably in the box office right now. We know it was a diversity, inclusion, and equity hire. And because of all of these projects, now Disney Marvel isn't been bringing in the money that they should be to be able to support projects like this. There's no reason they should be able to pull these things off, except for the fact that they've run out of money. So yeah, the parks didn't keep them afloat forever, and now we've got 3 more shows that have been officially canceled at Disney Marvel. And hey, that's what happens. Go woke, go broke, after all.